Hello, squaddies today. Let's talk about fairy tales. First, subscribe and like this video before we continue. Why Meghan will not reconcile with Kate here. We uncover the truth. So listen carefully and share your thoughts in the comments below. Meghan Markle's story seemed perfect until it wasn't. Before her wedding, a story leaked. Meghan made Kate Middleton cry over bridesmaids' dresses. It was the first shot in a campaign to paint Meghan as the villain. Imagine preparing to marry into royalty, only to be branded a bully in the press. The palace stayed silent. Meghan learned quickly she was on her own. Duchess Difficult became her label, and the public had their villain. The fairy tale was over before it began. Sometimes the real story is what happens behind the castle walls. So, what was the drama? The tabloids claim Meghan made Kate cry during a bridesmaid dress fitting. The story was presented as fact, not rumour. Meghan was cast as the demanding outsider, Kate as the gentle victim. The narrative fed every negative stereotype about Meghan. But only one side was told, loudly. The public saw a villain and a victim, and the divide was set. This wasn't just pre-wedding stress, it was a calculated PR move. The story elevated Kate and destroyed Meghan's image. The wedding, meant to symbolize a modern monarchy, instead exposed deep divisions. The truth didn't matter. Perception did. And that perception would haunt Meghan for years. Fast forward to Meghan and Harry's interview with Oprah. Meghan revealed the reverse happened. She was the one left in tears, not Kate. Kate apologized privately, bringing flowers and a note. Meghan insisted Kate was a good person. The issue wasn't the argument, but what followed out. The private apology fixed their personal rift, but the public still believed the lie. The palace let the false story stand, damaging Meghan's reputation. Both women knew the truth, but the institution stayed silent. Meghan's point wasn't to attack Kate, but to highlight the palace's failure. Why let a false story circulate for years? The private apology was a bandage. The public wound remained open. The real problem was institutional silence. Meghan wasn't protected, she was sacrificed for the status quo. The world saw a villain, and the palace did nothing to correct it. The damage was never about the dress, it was about trust and betrayal. In the end, the truth stayed hidden behind palace walls. When the story broke, the palace said nothing. Their silence was seen as confirmation. Meghan, new to royal life, was told to trust the institution. But the institution did nothing. She watched her character be destroyed while the palace stayed quiet. The silence was a choice to protect the hierarchy, not her. This told the media Meghan was fair game. The Duchess Difficult label stuck, and every negative story seemed more believable. The palace's inaction wasn't just a PR failure, it was a personal betrayal. Meghan and Harry realized they were on their own. The silence set a precedent. Meghan would not be defended. The damage was done, and the institution moved on. The cost was Meghan's trust and her place in the family. Sometimes silence is the loudest answer of all. Prince Harry confirmed Meghan's account in his book and interviews. He described how they begged the palace to correct the false story. A simple statement could have ended it, but the answer was always no. The palace claimed they couldn't comment on every rumour, but that rule wasn't applied evenly. For Harry, this was a moment of clarity. The institution would sacrifice Meghan's reputation to protect itself. Meghan's question was simple. Why didn't anyone correct it? She wasn't asking for special treatment, just the truth. The refusal to act sent a clear message. The system wasn't designed to protect them. Harry saw history repeating itself, with Meghan facing the same media attacks as his mother. The palace's silence wasn't just a PR blunder, it was a deep betrayal. The real issue was never the argument, but the refusal to defend the truth. The real issue was never the dress. The argument was private, but the fallout was public and devastating. The story was twisted and weaponized, damaging Meghan's reputation. Kate's private apology fixed their relationship, but not the public lie. The world still saw Meghan as Duchess difficult. The real hurt came from being left unprotected by the institution. The betrayal was deeper than any argument about dresses. For Meghan, moving on would require public accountability. The problem was bigger than two women. It was about institutional failure. The stain on Meghan's reputation was never about a dress. It was about trust lost. After Oprah, commentators tried to reframe the story as both sides at fault. This muddied the waters, shifting blame from the institution to the women. It ignored the power imbalance and the fact that a damaging lie was left uncorrected. Rewriting the story as a misunderstanding avoided accountability. The system doubled down, discrediting Meghan or minimizing the harm. True reconciliation is impossible without acknowledging the real issue. This was not a both sides problem. One person was harmed by a lie, the other was protected. Until the truth is acknowledged, there's no common ground. The real issue remains the public lie and the institutional failure to correct it. The palace's never complain, never explain rule has exceptions. When rumours about Prince William or Kate surfaced, the palace acted fast, issuing denials, even legal threats. But when it came to Meghan, they did nothing. The double standard was clear. Senior royals were protected. Meghan was not. The silence over Meghan's story was a strategic choice. It sent a message about who mattered in the royal hierarchy. Stories threatening the monarchy were stamped out. Stories hurting Meghan were left to run wild. This wasn't just about dresses. It was about who the institution chooses to defend. For real reconciliation, the double standard must be acknowledged. A private apology means little when the public betrayal is so profound. The issue was never the dress. It was about protection, power, and who gets left behind. The answer was clear long before Meghan ever walked down the aisle. And that's the story that changed everything.